China would take a further step in evolution by sending their first man into space. Yang Liwei was alone on the spacecraft, doing his duties, floating through the stars above. They say in space, no one can hear you scream. So what do you do when someone or something knocks on your ship? Well, that's what Yang Liwei had to figure out on his voyage. Hello everybody, today we'll be talking about the mysterious knocking aboard the Shenzhou 5. Before we jump into that, if you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, it's good to see you again. And I also want to apologize ahead of time. I'm probably going to butcher a ton of names in this video. I'm going to do my best at finding the pronunciation, but just in case, I'm going to have the names popped up here on the screen, so you know what I'm trying to say. Alright, I got my orange drink. If you know, you know. And let's get into it.
If you know, you know.
That was stupid. The Shenzhou 5 was China's first manned space flight task and would mark a new milestone in China's space development. The trip took less than a day and spanned between October 15th and October 16th of 2003. The total time the voyage took was 21 hours and 23 minutes, and the spaceship would only hold one astronaut. That astronaut was Yang Liwei, the first Chinese man to make it into space. China would be the third country to send a man into space, being beaten by Russia, well, Soviet Union, and America. The purpose of the Shenzhou 5 was mainly a test run, also to do research as well as just bragging rights. Obviously it was progress for China's space program just to send someone up to space and then have them return successfully, but the main goals were to see how the manned capsule would do, obtain data with the living conditions when in relationship to the environment, observing operation performance, like the reliability and safety of each of the systems, as well as seeing how all these systems work together. China wanted to test out their creation, and that creation managed to orbit the Earth 14 times. A notable feature about the Shenzhou 5 is it had the ability to automatically return home under emergency situations, as well as manual controls, all with the help with people at the control base. The control base would give Yang Liwei good return data that would help him travel back home. The returning system worked like a charm, with the parachute and boosters aiding Yang's descent back to Earth. He would return by landing in grasslands in Central Inner Mongolia. What returned was all in great shape, including Yang Liwei, as he walked out on his own accord, giving a wave to the people gathered nearby, and the returning capsule had little to no damage on it, and the orbital module that was left up there would stay up there for 6 more months, conducting science-related experiments, mainly focused on seeing if the softwares can continue to run the module, and it would do so until March 16th, 2004, with the module later decaying in May. China's first manned spaceflight had been an absolute success. Yang Liwei is a Chinese astronaut, and like mentioned before, he was the first person sent into space by the Chinese. Yang's aviation career began in 1983, when he enlisted in the Chinese People's Liberation Army. There he was chosen to enter the Aviation College for the People's Liberation Army, and would later graduate in 1987, later becoming a fighter pilot. He was also a very decorated fighter pilot, accumulating over 1,350 hours of flight. Because of his achievements and skill, he was one of 13 selected to enter China's crewed astronaut training. China chose these 13 out of a pool of 1,500 candidates, and this would be the country's first team of astronauts.
What you know about?
After being selected, Yang and the others spent 5 years studying the science and operation of the spacecraft, as well as undergoing physical and psychological training and tests.
If you know, you know.
All of Yang's work accumulated with him being selected as the sole astronaut to travel into
Space.
He was actually selected one day before the scheduled launch, which would make me shit myself. Yang Liwei would operate the Shenzhou 5 craft on October 15th, and at 9 a.m. that morning his true test began, as the spacecraft lifted off from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. And things ran smoothly throughout the 14 orbits of Earth, besides that weird knocking he would report, but we'll get to that. Yang Liwei would return on October 16th, after successfully releasing the craft's orbital module, which would be on a 6-month military image mission. When Yang returned, he was named Vice Commander-in-Chief of the Astronaut System of Chinese Crewed Spacecraft Project. Later in 2008, he would be promoted to Major General. He would continue to aid China in the evolution of their space program, by helping choose astronauts and training exercises, as well as tech preparations. Notably, he was key for the second manned space flight for China. Nowadays, Yang Liwei is still highly ranked among astronauts. He is currently a vice chief designer of China Manned Space Engineering. His wife also serves in the space program. Yang Liwei was flying in the claustrophobic shuttle known as the Shenzhou 5. Everything was going smoothly until knocking in space. Even worse, Yang was alone on the shuttle, the first man in space from China, and apparently the first knock-knock joke from an alien. In an interview with Chinese media, Yang revealed that he kept hearing banging noises, stating, "A knock that appeared from time to time," continuing to say, "It neither came from outside nor inside the spaceship, but sounded like someone is knocking on the body of the spaceship, just as knocking an iron bucket with a wooden hammer." Obviously this made Yang nervous, and he would go over to the spaceship's porthole to investigate. However, he couldn't recognize anything out of the ordinary. Meeting an alien would probably be terrifying, but just as equally terrifying, a noise in the shuttle that you don't know what the cause is. It could be something wrong with the shuttle, and an accident in space is usually catastrophic. Luckily, Yang would return home safe, although he couldn't figure out what the noise in the craft was. When he got back to Earth, he tried to recreate the sound to officials, using instruments, as well as trying to describe the sound, but he couldn't mirror it. This supposed knocking has actually been heard by other Chinese astronauts, and it's gotten to the point where Yang actually warns astronauts before their mission. If they hear a knocking noise, it isn't anything out of the ordinary, so don't worry. If you remembered, Yang continued to work for the space program, specifically with recruiting and aid with the astronauts. When Yang revealed the details of the mysterious noise, it spawned many different ideas from many different people. Some of the ideas that have been thrown into the hat to explain the mysterious knocking of Yang Liwei's space voyage range from things hitting the craft from the outside to aliens. In space, there is no medium for sound to be carried, which means there's absolutely no sound. If you've seen Star Wars, all those space battles that have those amazing sound effects of lasers, ships zooming by, and explosions everywhere would actually sound like this. So some experts suggest that it could be something physical hitting the spacecraft, but they highlight that this is pure speculation. This idea makes people question what that physical thing could be. Some people on the internet believe that it's space debris, which if you didn't know, humans suck. We litter everywhere, including space. This video shows a time lapse of space junk that we have sent up there just to leave. And yeah, I get it, evolution for mankind, but mankind can pick up after themselves so the future generation doesn't have to.
What are you talking about?
If space debris did hit the shuttle, many experts say that that would have been a bigger deal, like emergency level deal. Others say it could have possibly been the shuttle itself, as a result of expansion or contraction, as the temperatures would range widely within orbit. However, Yang Liwei would reveal to some curious students who asked what he learned about the knocking. Yang sums it up that it was a result of decreasing air pressure. This caused changes in the structure of the shuttle, also adding that it could affect items inside the shuttle. Think about the story of the Millionaire submarine recently. However, this shuttle was built and tested by experts. Yang Liwei noted that it was important to find the cause of the noise, especially because during Chinese space flights during 2005 and 2008, astronauts will report hearing that same noise. However, astronauts were warned by Yang Liwei, who told them not to worry, it's just a natural phenomenon. So unfortunately it wasn't aliens. Well, not unfortunately, but it would have been cool, so you know what I mean.
Take me to your dealer!
Hearing knocks wouldn't be the only strange noises heard by astronauts in space. The sound of space refers to strange or unexplainable noises heard in space, usually heard by astronauts, but that's not always the case. For Yang Liwei and other Chinese astronauts, they reported hearing knocking. The explanation for those noises are assumed to be a decrease in air pressure that messes with the craft or items inside the craft. On the Apollo 10 voyage, reportedly the astronauts heard a strange noise that they couldn't find the cause of. It was described as a whistle, like space music. This information wasn't revealed to the public until much later though. NASA's explanation for the strange noises was just some sort of radio interference. And listening to the astronauts, they don't seem that worried about it.
You hear that? That whistling sound? Sounds like, outer space-time music. Boy, that sure is weird music.
More sounds would be recorded throughout time, including those from unmanned devices. The Juno space probe orbits Jupiter with the goal to get a better understanding of Jupiter and the evolution of Jupiter. The probe crossed into Jupiter's magnetic field, and was able to pick up recording when it crossed a bow shock. A bow shock is a boundary where high solar winds abruptly decrease. Here's that audio and imagery now. Juno's instruments detect the electronic and magnetic components of plasma waves and radio waves that range through frequencies that we can hear. Some people believe that we have explored 0.5% of the galaxy, while others say it's around 5% of the galaxy. However, without a doubt, our galaxy is enormous, and is probably bigger than any of us think. With all that space, who says an alien can't come knocking on our door?
If you're cold, they're cold.
That's where I'm going to end the video today. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like. And if you're still here, why not subscribe? And speaking of, 300 of you guys recently subscribed, and I just want to say thank you all. It's been fun sharing these random topics and animations, so I just want to say thanks. Alright, bye.
Time to get the fuck out of here.